Okay, guys, good evening and welcome to the Gentleman Sim Racing Club round.
A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world across the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Welcome to a rare but special edition of Tuesday Night Motorsport. Smack bang in the middle of week 9 of term 4. Yep, night 2 takes us to Imola first up for the latest round of the Lobezy Racing Up and Comer Series. And the great man is in the booth with us to have a chat at some point throughout the course of this 3-race program from Emilia-Romagna. And, of course, then we head over to the streets of Belle Isle, Detroit, Michigan for the penultimate round of the GT1 Civil War. Yep, a rare outing on a Tuesday night for us as we edge closer to the end of the season, quite rightly. We're upping the stakes and upping the broadcast commitment as we get to the crunch end of proceedings, not just for the term, but also for the year. I'm Zach Caben. Grant Gill is here alongside me, Trent Lavis as well. We'll get to Mr. Lavis very shortly because he's up to no good in Detroit already, getting ready for hopefully a tilt at GT1. But Grant, welcome to you. We've got no time to muck around here because the up-and-comers are already lining up on the grid and they're in the Formula 4s tonight. Let's go. Aidan Schultz and Pete Matson lead the field away down towards turn 1. We'll get back to the grid for you in just a moment. Phil Butler, Adam Johnson, the second row, Tristan Koch and Adam Tice, the third row as they make it towards turn 1. Only a field of 12 tonight. Tim Watson's been left at the start line and has slotted back in last to 12 runners. Single file down the back straight for the first time. Towards the end of the first intermediate, up towards Villeneuve, they'll come. Schultz, a nice start, converted off the line, pole position ahead of Pete Matson. So Butler and Johnson shed the second row, Koch and Tice the third. Fourth row was where you found Tim Watson alongside Phil King. Fifth row was Philip Howe and Justin Cotter. Sixth row was Luke Keamy and Greg Padgett. That order has already been flipped on its lid from 7th down. A lot of positional changes moving and shaking, unfolding. The exciting thing about this, Grant, or is it exciting? I'm not sure yet. It's a full invert of the field. So a reverse grid race, second up tonight. We've got 10 minutes here, then 15 and 25. 3-race program before we get ready to go. Tin Top Racing in Detroit. And we know how exciting that usually is when we go racing there.
All right, now I've got my microphone on, so good evening, Zach. It's great to be back with you for the penultimate round. As you said, my mic wasn't on. Still only just finished off dinner, and I thought I had it.
Oh, jeez. Phil Butler with a big moment there, and sorry, Grant, almost caught Adam Johnson in the crossfire. But thankfully, no harm, no foul. Butler continues on.
Yes, indeed. So we'll have a quick look at the racing patterns. As you said, it's a short blast around here for the first race. We've got 19-degree track temperature. That's very friendly for the kids out there. Altitude of 42 metres. Ambient temperature of 19 degrees. Also,
as well.
October 31st, 8:15 in the morning. So looking forward to a good bunch of racing to go.
Just pleasant conditions for racing, of course. They've only just wound the... Whoa, off goes Adam Johnson. And straight down to the bottom of the order, he'll tumble. Oh, boy.
Here, Adam Johnson in the green and gold.
Well, not quite the bottom of the order. It'll be the bottom of that train of 5 or 6 that he was in. They've got a little bit of a gap over Watson, Padgett and Keamy at the moment. Now, it's interesting because we go back to Phil Butler in third place at the moment. Championship points coming into this round saw Adam Tice on top, 620, played Phil King, 611. 9 points covers first and second. Third place in the championship at the moment with no drop rounds at his disposal is Phil Butler, who you've got on screen at the moment, on 528. 24 clear of Jason Timon, who is not on the grid tonight. Tristan Koch, Adam Johnson and Aidan Schultz, 500, 500 and 484 respectively. Those guys are on the grid tonight, so keep an eye out for that. Now, Josh Zuno is saying that they still can't hear you, Gilly. I'm hoping you've got that sorted as we get ready to rock and roll. And Hayden Schultz leads at the end of 2 laps.
Should be
I
there.
can hear him perfectly fine, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not my end. I'm guaranteeing you that. But yes, I wanted to make mention, and I made mention of it, or started to make mention of it before Adam Johnson had his off-track moment. We are racing at the end of the daylight saving window over there in Europe at the moment, and have a look at this. That's flirting with the lines.
Tristan Kosh is
Jeez.
just been passed by Adam Tyson, as we saw very briefly there. Adam Tyson leading the championship. Phil King just 9 points behind. Phil's been brought right up into it with drop points. Adam's already dropped 170 points. King's only dropped 62, so that brought him right in the mix.
Oh, Pete Matson in trouble. Drivers left, our right, heading up the hill. Matson drops to 6th. Was running 2nd, drops to 6th. Let's have a look at how it happened. Up towards the hairpin.
Oh, yes.
And did it all on his own. Oh, that's painful. And got away with it. There's no doubt about that. But now he's got to fight his way back throughout the course of the rest of the race. Not an easy track to overtake on.
Kosh coming back at Tice here. This really is for all the marbles, isn't it? So Kosh just in behind. Ticey running in 3rd at the moment, and Schultze's out in front with Phil Butler in 2nd place. Schultze's gone. He's 6.5 seconds down the track, and Butler a further 3 up from the track from here. But great to see Adam Tice leading the championship, and I think probably as a broadcaster's courtesy, we won't mention him again for the remainder of the evening, because he's only got 9 points to play with.
That's right. Down the main straight we go. Good battle pack forming here. 3rd through 8th at the moment. Tice, Kosh, Howe. Then Matson, King and Cotter. Now, it's interesting because last time around, whoa, big send down there on the inside. Throw Howe wants 2 for the price of 1. Can't get it. Round. Trouble. Howe and Cotter caught up. 3 of them caught up in that. The pack is split. Kosh drops all the way down to 12th. King down to 10th. This is how it happened. Now, Kosh was under... Oh, geez, that's ugly. Kosh had been passed by Howe down there on the inside. It looked as though Howe was going a little bit too deep in all of that. And all hell broke loose as the pack backed up. Unfortunate, but race control will no doubt have a look at that and decide who they've got to throw the book at.
Here's Maddo coming
back
back
we go.
at Justin Cotter, and
Nice.
Matty having a
Back in the 4th.
Yeah, through Aqua Mineral. So we always remember the mineral water.
Yes.
So Phil King running in 2nd place. I've got an incident for him as well.
And Johnson going down on the inside of Cotter as well off screen. Let's have a look at this. Phil King was lucky. Narrowly avoided getting really properly damaged in all of that. Pulled the car up, but unfortunately did drop a bunch of spots because he had nowhere to go. Yeah, that's really rinsed the order somewhat. They've been shuffled about. Schultz now leads from Butler, so Butler up to 2nd. Tice now 3rd, up 3 spots. Greg Padgett off the road as we speak, and buried in the sand, and minus a rear wing by the look of that as well. Philip Howe's down to 8th place now in all of that. Yeah, we'll have another look at that incident a little bit later on, I'm sure. It was the defining moment of so many races here. And it split so what was a good battle pack of 6 up into 3 mini battle packs of 2.
Oh,
so Tice now battling with Matson, Johnson now battling with Cotter, and Watson now battling with Howe. And next time by the line, Grant, they'll get the last lap board.
Wow. How good is it to have Greg Padgett back on track with us? Absolutely brilliant. The marvels of modern science and technology, eh? Great to have you back, Greg Padgett. Hope you've got some enthusiastic viewers chiming in, and you end up with a decent result. Looks like he and King having a little battle right there. Up front, though, Maddo's come in, and he's supposed to be right with Adam Tice, so they're just over the top of the hill waiting for the cameras to catch up.
That's very well done from Greg Padgett. Obviously, we've been following on closely with his recovery, and he'd been chiming in as a viewer. No doubt getting itchy feet. Obviously, he's got the all clear to get back into some more strenuous activities in his recovery process. Baby steps, no doubt, but good to have Greg Padgett back in the up-and-comers field on a Tuesday night. 1 minute to go, 1 lap to go for Aiden Schultz. Looks like, oh, geez, Tim Watson there under assault, or applying the pressure, rather, to Philip Howe. So those two duking it out for 7th and 8th. Here comes Schultz as the race leader to the tune of 6.4 seconds over Phil Butler. Then you go back, have a look at that. Matson back to 3rd on the inside of Adam Tice. The comeback continues. Maddo back onto the podium. And we're about to invert this order, Grant. That's going to shake things up just nicely, I'd imagine. A top 12 invert. And it'll be actually at this stage Greg Padgett who's coming to pit lane now for unknown reasons. It'll be Greg Padgett leading the field to green. That's hugely exciting. Have a look at this. Philip Howe just narrowly holding on. Up on the outside. Can he get by Watson?
Oh, they're fighting tooth and nail, aren't they? They're having an absolute ding-dong at this one.
Very distinct, near identical liveries on these cars, but they are different. They are different teams. So no holds barred here as they head around the back of the circuit for the final time. And Howe did get the run up around the outside to go up into 7th. Nicely done. Schultz is going to bring the field to the checkered flag here. Or is he? Or is he? Or is he? Schultz is pulling up. Schultz is slowing down.
I think that's as a
is that
courtesy.
Strategic?
I think that's as a courtesy to the racers fighting for the championship.
Oh, come on, Schultz. Don't scare us like that. Heart attack stuff here in the commentary box. Wondering what the hell was going on. He's going to push Phil Butler to the line. And Butler will end up taking the victory here across the line. Butler from Schultz by 0.1 of a second. Butler gets the job done. As Schultz makes way in a Rubens Barrichello, Michael Schumacher-esque moment. Going back to Austria in the early 2000s. My goodness gracious me. Pete Matson in for 3rd ahead of Adam Tice. Adam Johnson held off Justin Cotter. Philip Howe narrowly edging out Tim Watson. Luke Keamy gets home in 9th place ahead of Tristan Koch, Philip King and Greg Padgett. We'll flip the grid on its lid. We'll get ready to do that in just a moment. Just quickly, we've got 6 laps in there, so we should be heading for about 9 laps of racing in this second race over 15 minutes. And that should get us to somewhere in the vicinity of 14 or 15 in the third race, knowing that there will most likely be a little bit of a splash and dash for fuel, I would imagine. That would be a requirement here. Let's bring in the great man, Trent Lavis, Lobezy Racing. Mate, great to have you on board. You've been a busy boy in the real world. We haven't seen much of you in the sim world this season, but nice of you to get around the up-and-comers for Term 4.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's always good to support the guys that, coming through. I'm always a advocate for that in the real world and on the sim. So definitely worthwhile supporting those guys that are looking to have a crack.
That's team orders, was the comment from Josh Zuno. I want that written and recorded and noted, ladies and gentlemen. Can race control apply penalties for team orders? We'll ask him that question later on. Trent, it's obviously the numbers aren't terribly strong tonight, but the racing's top shelf.
Yeah, mate, the up-and-comers always put on a great show, always super respectful and super clean. So it always puts on a good show when all of them can finish the race, that's for sure.
I think we're going to have a word with the steward. So when is Pete Matson actually going to have come up and arrived?
Yes.
That
yeah,
might
that's
be
true.
A question for his wife, mate, but anyway.
Well, that's why I didn't use the word. I was coming to my mouth, but yeah. Wonder when he's going to be the man of the moment. I think he's actually won one of these before.
Here we go, boys. Again. Set to go now. Green away. Let's go. Back to work. The chasing pack is after Brett Campbell. A late arrival on the grid. For the invert situation, he had 3 rows on the rest of the pack. He should lead to turn 1. He will. Philip King down on the inside. Greg Padgett side by side with him as well. Through they come. cleanly so far. We'll get back to Trent a little bit later on because I want to hear all about the GT1 in Detroit. We'll bring that race to you live a little bit later on this evening. Brett Campbell leads.
Sorry, Chris, no YouTube. The old...
Oh, off goes Luke Keamy. Sorry, Grant. Off goes Luke Keamy. Back of shot, pink car. Rejoins. Rear of field, 13th and last.
Yeah, the old ring rust, Chris Stark, I came onto it, thought it'd all be fine, but we've got this app called Restream, which is supposed to hook all that up, and I've missed something, or it's missed me, but we've just got Facebook, hopefully, and Twitch. Apologies. We might do a restart in between this and GT1s, just so you can get up and get to the... Oh, someone off track there.
Yep, and that was Greg Paget dropping a couple of spots. Adam Johnson down on his inside to the chicane. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Luke Keamy back of field. Phil Butler in behind Adam Tice, in behind Aidan Schultz. Justin Cotter is ninth. Pete Matson now up to 7th on the inside of Tim Watson. Got the job done there. And Phil King is down on the inside of Brett Campbell to take the lead. So King finds his way to the front. Up 6 spots already. Fighting for a championship. This is exciting stuff here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Across the line we go. King with a clear track ahead of him. Campbell in front of Kosh. Then Howe has the rest of the train following him. Just look at that.
Yeah, look at those red numbers on the left-hand side. They're all indicating within half a second. Dodging and dicing there as well as they come into... is this Villeneuve, I think it's called? Oh, someone right on the inside. That's caused mayhem.
Oh, dear. And if you're a race control, you'd be looking at the safety car button here and now, I'd say. They're everywhere. They're scattered. We've got 2 cars parked, one on top of the other. They've managed to break clear and separate. But Greg Paget, the unlucky casualty and all of that, on the tow rope to pit lane. Let's have a look at it again. Brett Campbell.
I think
might have been the instigator in all of this.
And then has a very poor rejoin, perhaps.
Oh, actually, he went off all on his lonesome, so the garbage happened behind that.
Yes, a lot of damage. Let's see if we can pick that up with...
Here we go from the aerial shot.
Johnson goes down, parks on the apex. No, he didn't do anything too wrong. He did his best to get out of there.
Yep. Just looked like 3 or 4 incidents rolled into one, and unfortunately that has broken this field apart. Phil King the leader ahead of Tristan Kosh now. Philip Howe is 3rd. Then you go back to Justin Cotter, Phil Butler, Adam Tice, Adam Johnson, Luke Keamy, Tim Watson, Brett Campbell, Pete Matson and Aidan Schultz. Greg Paget on the tow rope in pit lane. Off goes Adam Johnson. No. Johnson plummets down to 10th place. It might be 11th in a moment. Yep, Pete Matson gets by as well. And that's a fair invoice for Johnson.
This is Aidan Schultz getting caught up. Oh, I don't know we can show that at this time of the evening, can we?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Get a bucket of water, will you?
Schultz just catching a ride. Catching a wave, as they say in surfing circles.
Young folk
Have a look at this.
Days,
I'm not sure. Although that being said, I don't think too many of the young folk would be watching us, Grant. They're at schoolies at the moment. Phil King, Phil Butler, Justin Cotter, Adam Tice, Luke Keamy and Tim Watson, the top 6, and everybody else has come to pit lane to splash and dash. Or get a fast repair. One or the other.
Dicey's toey here. He's right on the back of Phil Butler. Justin Cotter. Down the inside.
Yeah, we're there now. We're in the gutter, so we're going to stay there. The innuendo is going to come flying thick and fast, ladies and gentlemen. Hang around, it'll be fun. Let's go back to Trent Lavis if we can. I want to get to your car in just a moment, but firstly, what are your thoughts on the FIA Formula 4 car being incorporated into iRacing, please?
I haven't driven it, I don't think. I do own the car. It has a livery on it. I don't remember driving it. But no, it's meant to be a good addition. It sort of fills in that void between Formula 3 and Formula 4 that they've got now. So a bit of a more of an entry-level series, a little bit easier to drive a car. for those getting into the downforce cars.
It's no Formula V. It's no Formula V. No Formula V. However, in saying that, if you want your open wheeler action aplenty, make sure you join us on Thursday night for the next round of Sprite Insider Formula V. Cannot wait for that. Trent, you're in the GT1 at the moment, cutting some laps around the streets of Belle Isle, Detroit, Michigan. What are you making of it?
Remember the old Space Cadet game on Windows back in the day? Something similar to that, I think, is going to be the entree for the night. So, yeah, she's a bit... car's very stiff, very bouncy track, and lots of walls. So it's going to be an interesting evening, I think.
I think so. And it's a 35-minute race, if memory serves, and that's coming your way straight after this one, ladies and gentlemen, about 9:40 Eastern Daylight Time.
The hot tip for the evening is to finish first. First you must finish. So I think that's going to be the mecca for the evening.
Well, it seems to have been Pete Matson because it's his baby. He's set this one up for the GT1s, and he seems to have been in a cantankerous mood when he set it up, because we've had the Lime Rock, we've had a whole bunch of the tiny little itsy bitsy circuits that you normally, Summit Point, I think, got to run, Alton Park. He's just thrown it in there just to mess with people's heads, I think.
Yeah, he probably is spinning around on his leather chair, stroking his cat. So, yeah, definitely going to be an interesting evening.
Mr. Belfeld. Yes, indeed. Being spun around by his motion rig that he's got iRacing set up to. I think he's one of the few guys in the club who's actually got a full 6 degree. I think it's 6 degree motion rig he's got, but I don't think there's too many others. Phil King, clear air out in front, 146.75 is the fastest lap of the race, and he's done that the last time round, so he's just stretching out 12 seconds in the lead nearly, with Ticey sitting in his compulsory third place, it seems, for this evening, but Justin Cotter is going to keep Ticey very, very busy, I think.
It's one of only two real battles active and alive on the circuit at the moment. Philip Howes found his way back into pit lane at the end of lap 3, remains there. Greg Padgett got back out on the racetrack, so did Tristan Koch. So, I mean, that's... yeah, too much for a motion rig, says Starkey. To be honest with you, this is the first time I've had a chance to have a look at the up-and-comers this season, and impressive to see what they've been dishing up. I mean, unfortunately, incidents happen. That's part of racing. But even still, with half the field having served an invoice already coming into pit lane, there are still battles raging around the racetrack, which is promising to see. And Grant as well, tip of the hat to all competitors, because they could have easily parked up and said, that'll do me, I've had a gutful of this. But no, they're not. They're persevering. They're getting back out there and getting amongst it, and just racking up those consistent finishes and championship points.
They are indeed, because with the 3 races each night, there's plenty of points on offer, as we saw Tice out in front without the drop rounds. He's got 790 points, so there's in up-and-comers, you never quite know where you're going to be. They're there. Josh Suino, he's also got an e-motion rig. I get a bit emotional at times as well. Normally it's whilst I'm looking at the bottom of a glass of some adult beverage, unlike Sprayton's wonderful non-alcoholic ciders that they do for us. But yeah, so works overtime as I'm in the wall most of the time. You'd end up with bruised kidneys, I should think.
Yep, and bruised other things as well. Trent, we know that. Well, I was going to say bruised ego, bruised esteem, bruised. Anyway, we could keep going, but we won't. Trent, you've been keeping busy in the real world as well, mate, and you were on track over the weekend in a car that you've got a lot of time for.
Yeah, mate, managed to drag the old S15 all battered and bruised after my recent was it encumbrance with the tyre wall a couple of months ago, which is all fixed up to a point. It's functional, and had a bit of fun over the weekend with the ski control boys at the Motorculture Day on the weekend. It was great fun at a QR.
Very impressive, actually, to see that they've been able to successfully run a a race meeting of sorts in amongst a heap of other external activities, all within the same weekend across the circuit. Cutting the chicane there, I think, was Justin Cotter. But yeah, what was the vibe like out there, Trent? Because I didn't get out there. I had other things happening over the course of the weekend just gone, but it looked as though it was well attended, well supported, and for the mix of different disciplines you had on offer, it was a trial and error sort of situation. It was something different.
Yeah, had literally a little bit of everything for everybody out there. It was fantastic. It was show and shine, and sprints, had like a rally, tarmac rally, so like a point-to-point little race we put on the track with the handbrake turn and stuff. They also had the practice sports cars, so the Whittaker brothers are out in force in the real world. And Skid Control boys were putting on a stunt show, which was well received by the crowd. So really good stuff.
Are you doing a Nick Fodiatis on us and got a fan running there, Trent?
I do. Apologies. It's just getting a bit toasty in here. My little heater was warming up down the corner here. This computer gets pretty warm in a tiny little room. So
I understand. I thought you might have had the window open.
The window is open as well. Yes. I'm struggling in here.
I was going to say, don't get me wrong. I must admit it was nice to have a pleasant change of pace on the weather front the last couple of days. A fair chunk of rain in the southeast of Queensland has been welcomed by so many. We've needed the downpour, but I must admit, from a personal standpoint, I wish the humidity would disappear when the rain arrives rather than intensify, because you go outside and it's nice and cool and pleasant. You walk inside, you sit in amongst all the broadcast equipment. I too have the fan on right of commentary position at the moment, for the same reason. It is as muggy as all buggery at the moment. Now, Phil King's leading this one by 0.8 of a second. Phil Butler there in second spot. We're coming around with 2.5 minutes on the clock. So we've got 2 to go this time by. 2 to go at the line, and Butler leads. Butler trails King at the moment. Tice is third, then Cotter, Watson, Keamy, Matson, Schultz, and Johnson. Campbell's back in the lane. Kosh remains in there as well. Padgett's a lap down, and Howe's out of business. Oh, King has been passed there. Have a look at the damage on him. He looks worse for wear. Butler gets through and takes off, and Butler's going to lead this one with this and a lap to go. I don't know how King's able to stay with him as closely as he has been for so long here, because that car looks like it should be heading for the scrap heap. Let's have a look at this again. This was earlier in the piece. We didn't see this live.
Well, he's lit that
he's going to get cleaned up
on the way through. Oh,
Dang.
That'll be an unsafe rejoin as well, I should think.
We got cleaned up on the way through.
Who have we got in race control tonight? Not seeing anyone in there. Trent, I think, is... No, Trent's setting up for...
No, Trent's in the...
Lethal's on duty tonight.
Excellent. He's no nonsense.
Great man.
Our lethal lead. Good man.
So 1 minute 7 on the clock. Next time by the line, white flag flies. The other event, I must admit, whilst we're whinging about the humidity and the saunas that we all reside in when we're in the middle of either participating in or broadcasting Gentleman Sim Racing Club broadcast action, the reality of the situation is we had the rain arrive up here just at the right time, ladies and gentlemen, just after all the racing had been done over the weekend, because over at Morgan Park Raceway in Warwick, the HQ Nationals were run for 2023. Congratulations to Brett Osborne, the New South Welshman, winning that. Congratulations to the Queenslanders that came home 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Yes, you heard that correctly. 7 of the top 10, and they were the bottom 7 positions. But yes, the New South Welshman came to town and cleaned up his 3rd HQ National title. Good field of 41 Kiwis out there throughout the course of the weekend. Well-supported event, well-attended event, well-run event from all reports. And well done to Zane Rinaldi out there as well, winning the Queensland Series X3 Championship for the Circuit XLs.
Here comes
on
Tyson.
the back of running 4th at the Nationals only 3 weeks earlier. And, of course, that was my last big motorsport assignment for the year. Wide goes King. That opens the door. Here goes Tyson up the inside. Will he capitalise? Will he make it stick? Let's have a look. This is lap 9. This is the final one. Run to the checkered flag. Tyson dives down the inside to second. Nice and clean. 5 seconds the advantage. Butler to King. Butler the leader from the rear of the grid back to the front.
It's a bit of a freebie.
Phil Butler's going to find his way to 2 from 2.
Yeah, a bit of a freebie for Tyson to get by Phil King. They were 1 and 2 in the championship. So I don't think Adam would have realised that Mr. King's missing the front most
Jeez.
of his car.
How lucky was Justin Coe to avoid that?
But Adam,
King will persevere with that thing and limp it to the line.
Yeah,
but it's going to be Phil Butler's night at the Emilia-Romagna circuit.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, Adam was very circumspect as he came up upon him and thinking about the championship, didn't want to get taken out. But very nicely done.
Phil Butler 2 from 2. He's got 1 to go, but that one was a very nice performance. A very good win for him. 2nd to Tice, 3rd to Cotter, 4th to King, 5th to Watson and Keamy when they come through will make up the top 6. And it just goes to show, Grant, the price you pay for having to come down pit lane here in a race where pit stops weren't part of the equation, weren't part of the schedule. The strategy, if you like, because Matson's going to lead that contingent of 6 home ahead of Schultz, Johnson, Kosh, Padgett, Campbell and Howe. So yet again, the field is rather jumbled for the 3rd and final race of the night.
Is indeed. 25-minute affair, the final one, so I don't know if they'll have enough fuel to get around completely.
I wouldn't imagine so.
So that was Sprint Race 1's results for us as we wait for the Sprint Race, the consolation to pop up, but we can recap these.
So it was Butler, Schultz, Matson, Tice and Johnson home, first 5 past the post in race 1. And that, Butler remained where he was at the end of race 2. Tice, Cotter. So Tice improved. Cotter, King and Watson were the next 3 home past the post in the consolation just now. We're waiting for that server to click over now because it'll have to register that Brett Campbell and Philip Howe are still down in the lane.
There's Adam Johnson across the line. So now we can look at consolation race results.
And once again, Phil Butler 2 from 2. Tice, Cotter, King, Watson, Keamy, Matson, Schultz, then Johnson and Kosh made up the top 10. And Padgett, Campbell was the first of a few non-finishers in all of that. You look down the order. Howe, also a non-finisher. And then, of course, those non-starters, Vizza, Baker, Stark and Lavis. It's interesting too, isn't it, that the Formula 4s enjoyed great success internationally, but it flopped on Australian soil. I'm going to make a statement on social media later in the week because yet again there's been another a blow to the hopes of a few people that want to take an open wheel route in this country or want to take a route that isn't supercars, because supercars are tighten the belts and put the foot down and dug in with regards to eligibility requirements and licensing requirements and this, that and the other with regards to taking the path down the supercars route. And unfortunately, it'll put pay to, categories like S5000. It'll be detrimental to anyone that wants to take an open wheel path in this country because there's no way to the top in this country, because you've got to go overseas to achieve open wheel success. And yet, Motorsport Australia will be very quick to suck on the coattails of something like Oscar Piastri's success in Formula One. But yet there's nothing happening here in the backyard to support those that want to forge a career in open wheelers. And not helped by the sense that that supercars, again, continue to drive a massive wedge between themselves and the rest of the pyramid of Australian motorsport. It's not good enough, and but it's unsurprising at the same time. That news did do the rounds across the course of the weekend, and I haven't had a chance to get back to it and take it to task, but I will in due course, I promise you. Once I can get over the 112-year time lapse that I suffer up here in Queensland, Grant. Let's get ready to go. Feature race time on the platforms of the GSRC for race 3 of 4 in our program tonight, race 3 of round 9 in the entree slot for the Lobezy Racing up-and-comers from the Imola circuit. Grid lining up looks like this: Phil Butler, Adam Tice, front row; Justin Cotter, Phil King, second row; Tim Watson, Luke Keamy, third row; Pete Matson, Aidan Schultz, fourth row; Adam Johnson, Tristan Koch, fifth row; Greg Padgett, Brett Campbell, sixth row; and Philip Howe from the rear of the field. We are set for a start. The last race of round 9 of the Lobezy Racing up-and-comers from Imola. Let's go! Watch for the likes of Schultz and Matson and Johnson to try and work their way back through to the front. Great start, Philip Howe down on the inside of Brett Campbell. Trying to get his way through to 12th, maybe even 11th on the run to turn 1, 2 and 3 wide further back. Got to be careful, take some caution through the opening sequence of the lap here, because it all went belly up earlier on when the field was so tightly bunched up. You don't want a repeat of that here in a 25-minute feature.
Old tyres.
Through we go.
Cars will be a little bit slippy. I think we've got about a 22 degree track temperature. It's now 9:50 in the morning. And once again, we must be on Saturn or Jupiter, because the hectopascals are off the chart there. So all going on there. Phil Butler just holding a very narrow lead to Adam Tice. Phil King trying to recover some pride and some points to get back into it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, indeed they are. I was going to say, nice to have a morning time round, of course. Central European time is about 10 hours behind Eastern Daylight Time this time of year, because they've wound back an hour, we've wound forward an hour. Well, most of us have. And that's the time difference. So it's almost real time this morning in Imola compared to our servers here. I mean, what are we, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time? And you said, Grant, that it was 9:50 in the morning there, was it? Or
however, on
about
October
that.
31st.
Yeah, so we're a couple of weeks behind, but the time of year is the same. I mean, it's not as though we've crept back into their daylight saving window. We're still very much just outside of that. 31st of October was only 3 weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen. So the last Tuesday of October, the week before the Melbourne Cup. I got 1-2 in the Melbourne Cup this year, boys. I was very happy with that. The first time I've had a punt on the race in about 6 years.
I win every single year I win, because I never put a set penny down.
You never put a cent on, yes, exactly.
Come out in front every time.
And it was a late decision too. Mum said, are you going to go and have a punt? I'll give you some money to have a punt for me, and I want these horses. I said, yeah, right, I'll go and do it. And it ended up being a very worthwhile investment for both of us, because we both backed 2 of the same horses in our top 5, and it just so happened to be that they were the 2 that went 1-2, so we were very happy. Adam Johnson there in 7th place at the moment.
Very
so
close.
Yeah, as I was saying, not too much difference. We're about 40 minutes out of that time lapse there. Real world time to sim time, which is about the closest it's ever been, Grant, except that night that we went to Phillip Island and we actually raced in the dark many moons ago. Across the back straight we go. Greg Padgett, Brett Campbell running into trouble. Greg Padgett off the road. Pete Matson's already been to pit lane. And Greg Padgett now on the tow rope heading to pit lane himself. We're on lap 2. Phil Butler, the leader. Adam Tyson, Phil King going along with him. Justin Cotter's lost a spot off the start. Aidan Schultz is up 3. Tim Watson's down 1. Adam Johnson's up 2. Philip Howe's up 5. Tristan Koch up 1. Brett Campbell up 2. Luke Keamy down 5. Pete Matson down 5. And Greg Padgett at the back of the field, parked up and done for the night. Not the greatest return for our mate Greg Padgett, unfortunately, but great to have him back all the same.
Sure,
been a frustrating year for him on and off the track, right?
He'd just be happy to be on the track indeed. So good on Greg. Great to have him back, and he'll start getting his wheels back under him as he gets going through through the Christmas break, a bit of practice, I'm sure. He's a very enthusiastic racer, and then we wait to see what round 1 2024 will have in store for us. And for anyone wondering, that's unlikely to kick off until post-Australia Day. It's probably the last weekend or the final week of January. But that will be revealed by the committee as we get along a bit. We don't have any of that information as yet, and with a little bit of 52 pickup in the committee, a few people with new roles. I think we've got Josh Zuino, who's taken on the Enduros, picked that up from David Johnson, and of course the great Joe Trucker Baldwin taking on the presidential role as well as still running RC, I believe. So a little bit of shuffling of deck chairs. Hopefully it's on something a little bit more seaworthy than the Titanic one. I think we're travelling pretty well.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this up through the top there. That's mayhem. You don't go too wide through there too often and live to
get away with it.
Yeah.
No, that's right. They were very lucky. Justin Cotter's got by Phil King. Let's have a look at Adam Johnson down there on the inside. That was nicely... Oh, no, it wasn't nicely done. He tripped himself up. He locked it up. He spun it round. He looped it. And he drops down to 8th place.
Tim Johnson, collateral damage.
Tim Watson. Luke Keamy's in behind him at the moment. And now, back to the front. Tyce's giving Butler good chase here. So Trent, the obvious question as I bring you back into commentary, as Phil Butler has an off-track skirmish and gets back going in 5th place. When are we going to see you in the sim rig on a more regular basis, please? I mean, I'm looking forward to the next round of Whittaker and Lavis hostilities resuming at some point, but when's it likely to be?
Well, I just haven't been too busy to do Thursday nights, unfortunately. We're on pretty regularly every Wednesday night for the GT4s, minus a couple. But just whenever I get a chance, mate, I'll just jump in and have a bit of fun. Like tonight, for example, got a freebie for the missus. She's going to get her nails done, so I'll jump on the sim for the evening.
Nice. Well, I was going to say, I have not been in touch with what's been going on Wednesday night throughout the course of the season because it has been one of my nights off this term. So how are you finding the longer races in the GT4, please?
Yeah, really good. Still playing catch up with young Jordo, who gets to spend a bit more time in the sim than I do, unfortunately, for me. He's absolutely rapid, but last week I managed to get one up on him, so yeah, looking forward to coming to the end of the season strong. Well, I'm still leading the championship by a couple of points from him, so interesting to see how we come as we go to the final.
Very nicely done. Off goes Adam Johnson again. Resumes. He's down in 10th place. Field a little bit too far spread out for the sake of it this early in the piece, I must say. And if we got 9 laps in 15 minutes, we're heading in the upward direction of potentially 14 or 15 in this race, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Padgett out of the race. Still 12 runners out there at the moment. Luke Keamy gets down on the inside of Tim Watson. We've picked up Pete Matson in 11th place. Coming back after a pit stop.
Yeah,
1 minute 46.069. He's on a mission, Grant.
He is. He's on a mission to finally get up and arrive. Cotter and
I find it astonishing that someone with Pete Matson's CV is still plodding around in the up-and-comers.
I think
just quietly.
He's making a few more wheels on the track for us, I believe. And,
off they both go. Cotter was one, Keamy was the other. Monkey see, monkey do. And Tim Watson's the beneficiary in all of that, getting by them both, 2 for the price of 1.
Kosh coming up onto the back of Phil King. Phil King running around in 5th place. We're only about a third way, 8.5 minutes into 25. So plenty of time to go. I'm not sure if they're going to need a pit stop in this class at a 25-minute race. We'll have to see.
No, and if that's the case, then we'll go 15 laps, I would imagine. We got 6 laps in 10 minutes earlier in the piece. Well, it was about 10.5 by the time they crossed the line. And then we got another 3 laps on top of that to get us up to 9. So all the right ingredients, sending us in the direction of 14 or 15 laps here. There's no doubt about that. And that's with carryover time, of course, remembering that we base the sums off the time, not the potential for that overtime bracket. So even then, I mean, if you did 15 by 5, Grant, is 75 seconds. So you could go 26 and a quarter minutes and get home 15 laps in this race. But if you have a pit stop for any reason for fuel, then forget about it. Have a look at this. The battle continues. Tristan Koch with my as much as I love the 2 yellow liveries that we've seen out there so far, and yellow's my favourite by the length of the straight. Have a look at Hyundai in the bright, beautiful blue lettering on the side of this car at the moment. Please, there it is. Have a look at it. And as a Hyundai owner and a fan of a Hyundai one-make racing category in this country, and the famed little Hyundai Excel, that is a fast, quickly becoming a contender for livery of the night as far as I'm concerned. We'll play Tristan Koch. I might be biased though, Grant.
I think there was once where you were, perhaps. Oh, big mistake from King. Just
It's
a
a
little bit
massive
too much
moment.
pressure.
And Tristan Koch says, thanks very much. I'll have that. Chase me if you can.
I'll have a little
Catch
bit
me
more
if you
as well,
can.
thanks, eh? Yeah. Now, worth mentioning for the up-and-comers, they race 3 different classes over the course of the season. That's the the FIA F4. There's the MX5, which I think we might just have a series for the MX5 next year if they put it rating.
Where is Nick Goring when you mention Mazda MX-5s? I always worry about Nick's welfare when you mention Mazda MX-5.
Oh, he's hiding in a cupboard like a blithering idiot. Have a look at King,
absolutely.
Like this. And they're also running the Toyota GR86. So next week...
It's a great little car.
Yeah, next week there'll be one 30-minute race for each of the classes. And there will be no GT1s next week. But, look at King having a look. He wants to keep the nose on the car this time. So GT1 will shift down to the final, the first week of the off season, as we like to call it, Zach.
Yes.
Tim Watson.
Meaning I won't be here. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, around he goes. That was Tim Watson. So that will all be to play for, because as we saw at the start of the night, Adam Tice. Adam Tice has been passed by Aidan Schultz as well. Adam Tice doesn't have too many points. He's not done a dentry to the field. He's still very much in touch for the first. I think it was first 3 or 4 was certainly in touch, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out next week. And I believe there's going to be another broadcast brought to us by the inimitable Daniel Correa-Sarr.
He's going to be a busy boy over the course of the next couple of weeks, because he's got 2 nights here this week, and then, by the sounds of it, 3 next week.
That's right.
So, and of course, we've got grand final week next week, which means longer races, more fun, more drama, more excitement. Cannot wait. Hope you can join us for grand final week and whatever else is left of week 9 as well. I'll be back with you on Thursday night. How good is it to have Formula V back just quietly? Really looking forward to them on Thursday night once again. And they're off to Detroit, Belle Isle, Michigan as well. And then the Porsches are coming here to the Imola circuit, Emilia Romagna. So that is going to be good fun too. Big week, penultimate week of the term.
And first thing to note for races is going to be that Monday night's Super 2, Super 3 will have an earlier kick-off time, because it's a longer race. I think it's a 40-minute race, and it'll be a 7:30 kick-off rather than the 7:45 that has been. Of course, all times Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
Thank you very much, Grant. Well done. Don't need to you do not need to throw bait in my direction.
Let me take the cap off this texture. I'm ready to go. I've got a plastic table saver underneath, so the ink doesn't go through to the tablecloth.
Good boy.
We're good to go.
Good boy. Excellent. And how are things in progressive civilization on that note? I can't wait to get back there in a fortnight, actually. Could not have timed it better, actually, because I got the memo on Melbourne Cup Day that I might be required at Sydney Motorsport Park on December 9. So I'm heading down there. Work up here, not terribly happy about it, but if work was paying me a little bit more per week, I'd have incentive to stay, let's be perfectly honest. The reality of the situation is that that has enabled me to take holidays from December 5, December 6 instead of December 12 or 13. And one of the benefits of that came yesterday when we got a letter from those incompetent people at Energex saying, oh, you're going to have a power outage on December 6 for 7 hours. I was like, thank God I'm going to be in Cessna. Brilliant. Down into progressive civilization. In fact, to be honest with you, it is Queensland, so I'm actually a little bit surprised that they even know what power is, quite frankly. Across the line we go. Lap 9 for Philip Butler as Philip Howe at the end of lap 8 comes to pit lane. So that gives us a little bit of an indication, Grant, that yes, there might be a requirement here to top up. Justin Cotter's done the same thing, came in at the end of lap 6 for 6.72 seconds. Brett Campbell's out there 2 laps down. No, he has parked up for the night. So we're down to 11. As Philip Howe comes back out onto the racetrack now behind Pete Matson and Tim Watson.
Yeah, Pete being the shrewd operator that he is, he's got that pit stop well and truly out of the way, and he's first of our runners to have pitted. I imagine they, because it's one design, they could, and fixed setups, they could have just popped in any time to do that. Pit stop. Let's see, pit lap. When did he come in? He came in on lap 1, so I don't think he would have had an issue there, and unless he'd been for a drive-through. I don't know about that, but anyway, Pete Matson might be running a very shrewd and cunning strategy. Now this is
right on board with Luke Keamy.
Bugger of a sequence of turns here. You're never quite sure. Very, very easy to run out wide. And you want to be as high at taller gear and maintain the revs as much as you can to get the run back down the hill. Oh, around in front we go. Oh, that was Adam Johnson again. He's had a very eventful afternoon of it, and up front something's going on.
Adam Johnson would have looked right at home on Trent Lavis's skid pan there the other day, just quietly. I mean, the thing's been doing a fair bit of drift work. Not a good thing in an open wheel. Aidan Schultz and Phil Butler. The battle for the lead is on. Have a look at it. 0.2 of a second. Schultz holding on here. Or is he just going to drag Phil along and then pull to one side as they come around onto the main straight? We'll wait and see. I'm not getting all excited about Schultz leading the way just yet.
No, bad news for...
after what he did earlier.
For Phil King, further bad news.
I was going to say, the night's gone from bad to worse, yes.
Too much inside the curb.
Way too much.
Second part of it, but didn't slow him down too much. Currently running in 5th place, well behind Tristan Koch in 4th, and well in front of Pete Matson in 6th. So Schultz, Butler, Tice, Koch and King for the moment.
And top 5 yet to stop. Pete Matson, the first of those 2 have stopped for a splash and dash. Tim Watson, Luke Keamy still to transit the lane. The field's spread out to the tune of about 1 minute and 18 seconds at the moment, but that again comes back to just how bloody long a transit it is here at the Imola circuit. So the end of lap 10, Schultz will have 4 to go this time by the line, unless he's coming to pit lane. No, he'll continue on. So across the line we go, and he's clocking in the 1 minute 45. So he's flirting with the precipice. He's flirting with the line, flirting with danger there at the moment. He's on the cusp of getting to 15 laps or settling for 14. And if everybody else coming to pit lane is any indication that, yes, everybody is going to have to splash and dash, then you can rub 15 out of the equation right now. It'll be 14 laps. Home and hosed.
So we can see in our graphic there, Butler's having that lead whittled away a little bit by Adam Tice behind. So it was out at 3.8. Of course, we've got to take into account that Aidan Schultz passed Phil Butler during that process. But you can see that's whittling down to 2.7 in a bit. So even on this lap, he's dropped about a tenth in a bit. So Tice is on a bit of a charge.
Indeed he is. And Ticey's doing his best to get on with it. At the moment, knows that Phil Butler's within striking distance. But how crucial is this transit of the lane going to be? 6 minutes to go, and a potential pit lane transit coming up here for these guys in the next 1 or 2 laps. I can't imagine they'd leave it to the very last lap.
No, of course, we could be talking through our hats there because we don't know for a fact whether there is a pit stop or not, but many have, well, several have, but we'll find out why. Pete could have even been a little indiscretion at the start. Let's have a look at the times. Pete's was only a 4-second stop, and that's about the same for the other cars, so we'll see. Hopefully all will be revealed in the fullness of time. This gap stabilising between Butler and Tyson. And pretty lonely race for everyone out there at the moment. No one's closer than 2.3 seconds to the nearest car. And that's between Schultz and Butler.
Pretty bloody lonely race for us in the commentary box as well, quite frankly. Let's hope GT1 bring a little bit more entertainment. But that being said, these guys have delivered some great entertainment at times throughout the course of the 3 races. Trying to keep them all bunched up for the space of, or through the space of 25 minutes is not an easy task. And or through the course, I should say. In comes Luke Keamy right now. So he was one of the, what have we got? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers that we yet to stop. Make it 6 now. And Tim Watson, the next one in the train, up in 7th place. Off goes Watson. Off goes Watson. He's got back on, but he's lit up the off-track alerts. The red and white sign writing on our lap scoring board here. This is how it happened. Keep an eye out for Schulte, Butler, Tice, Kosh and King to come to pit lane. So too this guy, but yeah, that was a fairly hefty off-track excursion. Thankfully, no harm, no foul. But as you see there, here they come to pit lane. As you see there, that new update they've made iRacing internally to gravel traps has really slowed the cars down as they've hit the kiddie litter. And Tim Watson lost a fair bit of time in that process. Into pit lane, Schultz, Butler and Tyson. So too now Tristan Kosh as well. And expect Phil King and also Tim Watson any tick of the clock.
Let's see how the cunning deviousness Phil King goes on. Phil stopped. Here comes Pete Matson and Schultz is on his way. Matson is just at the start of the pits and Schultz is on his way, so that'll close up quite a bit. Should bring Pete into play. He's taken Kosh and Watson in that process. And sits about 7.5 seconds behind Adam Tice. Well, poor old Adam Johnson. I'm not even going to show it because you get to a point where the only time, and this is how I go in Formula V's quite a lot, the only time I appear on the broadcast is when I've had a little moment.
Oh no!
It's never. You watch the broadcast back and you go, no, don't show it again. I know what happened.
That sounds like our producer slash director Trent Lavis. Correct me if I'm wrong. Getting the violin out at this point in time.
Yeah, it's a very odd shade of what do you call it? Sympathy from Grant.
Hey, listen, at no point do I ever deliberately put anyone off the track. It's just a gift.
No,
right? It's just a gift.
That's right. It's just an act that you've developed. The ability to... hang on. Let's have a look here. Adam Johnson in pit lane at the moment. The last of those to stop. Actually, that's going to be stop number 2 for him.
Yeah, I think it might
that is going to be stop number 2 for Adam Johnson. So Aidan Schultz will come down this time round and get the last lap board here, Grant, on the last lap white flag. And bring it back around onto the main straight. White flag in the air, 1 to go.
That's King coming in now.
King coming in now. Adam Tice will inherit 3rd. Then Pete Matson, Tristan Kosh, Phil Howe, and Justin Cotter, the next 3 through. And we are 1 lap from home at the Imola circuit in Italy.
Pete Matson has also pitted, so we'll have to, if he pops in, we'll have to find out what the lap 1 pit stop was. Maybe lap 1 was just a moment too soon. White flag flying.
I'd say a lap. I'd say a lap too soon, considering that Schultz, Butler, Tyson, Kosh all came in at the end of lap 12. I reckon he was a lap short. Pistol Pete, unfortunately. Across the line we go. And Aiden Schultz, another dominant performance from him, up 7 spots, has controlled this race nicely. Is he about to gift Phil Butler a few championship points here, or is he going to enjoy his moment and take the glory? We'll wait and see in a matter of minutes here, a matter of seconds, in fact. Part 1 of the doubleheader, and hope you're enjoying it. Tuesday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club GT1 from Detroit as soon as we're done here. And Phil King in 6th place at the moment. Here comes Schultz into the final sector. On a night where the open wheelers have taken centre stage, first time this week that they do. I mean, we see them again on Thursday night. Formula 4, they didn't enjoy great success in Australia, but it's enjoying its presence in the spotlight on the iRacing servers now. And Schultz, last turn, main straight, checkered flag. No sympathy for Phil Butler this time round. No Gentleman Sim Racing Club etiquette there. He says, I've got a chance to take the glory and I'm going to do it. Schultz wins race 3 to deny Butler the clean sweep. And Butler finishes 2nd. Adam Tice home for 3rd. Tristan Kosh, Philip Howe, and Phil King will make up the top 6. But keep an eye on Howe and King. Keep an eye on Howe and King. Let's do that if we can. Have a look at this. Nice and tight. You wouldn't want to muck up this corner, Philip Howe. Philip King's right there. Main straight. Philip Howe should hold on to 5th from here and will do so. King not close enough. Even with the slipstream. Matson in for 7th and Cotter 8th. Watson, Keamy and Johnson make up the field.
Close between Cotter and Watson as well.
And it was interesting that Adam Johnson ended up in pit lane again. That was a drive-through penalty. Oh, have a look at that. That's a change of position on the line, isn't it? Have a look. Have a look.
Oh.
Whoa. Cotter got walked him by 1/100th of a second. And, yeah, Johnson, it's still only showing as 1 pit stop for him, so that must have been a drive-through on lap 13 for Johnson. That's really bizarre.
I'd say that was
indiscretion. It just puts the full stop. Yeah. I'd say so. It puts the full stop on the turn of the night that he'd had. He'd be happy to see the back of Imola and the Formula 4, I would imagine.
Yeah, not sure how many off-tracks they have and how accurate Imola's off-track counting is. Sometimes it's not so accurate, but Johnson will bring it round. I'm sure he's had a fun evening. He's certainly used plenty of the off-tracks, and we'll have a better understanding of how this little Formula 4 operates. Such a disappointing sound off-track from the car. It's just like an Escort with a blown-out pipe or something at the back. Oh, he's going to have a look here, and he did pretty well through there.
He'll write the car off.
Yeah, but on track, in car, it sounds much better.
Yes, that is true. I will pay that. Oh boy. So Schultz, Butler, Tice, Kosh and Howe, the top 5 in that 3rd and final race, round 9 of the Lobezy Racing GSRC Up-and-Comers Series. We'll have a look at some highlights here for you as Phil Butler joins us in the commentary box for a chat at the end of the race. Getting ready to line up in the GT1 series, which is coming up shortly. Although, Grant, I believe the start time for the GT1s is a fair while away, is it not?
Let me just check on that. I'm as familiar with it as you are.
Okay, copy that.
9:40.
Yeah, so we've got a fair while to wait
so
here.
I think I will wrap up the broadcast when we're ready to go and try relaunching so we get Facebook.
So we get YouTube as well. Yeah, that's it. All right. Very nicely done. Let's chat to Phil Butler in the meantime. Phil, well done. 2 firsts and a 2nd. We were a little bit surprised there in race 1, though. Schultz just opened the door and allowed you to go on through at the end of the day. So that was on lap 6, the final lap of race 1. He showed no such courtesy though in race 3 and waltzed away to a 3.4 second victory. But well done to you because yep, race 1, a little bit of Gentleman Sim Racing Club etiquette gifted you the win. Race 2, you had to work hard to fight through from 10th or the rear of the grid rather to first, and you did that and did it comfortably, and then finished it off with the second, mate. So denied the clean sweep, but a sweep of podium finishes and round honours nonetheless.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're just trying to consolidate third place there in the championship. And for race 2, if Phil didn't have his mishap there, I wouldn't have caught him. He was on fire today. And then, just kept my nose clean and trundled along and made sure I got a good result in the third one. So, love these cars. Did well last time I drove one, so did well again today.
Yeah, absolutely you did. Smashed it out of the park, mate. I was going to ask you, you've already answered the question about whether you like the cars or not. That's good to know that you've taken to them like a duck to water. I was going to say, it must have been a nice surprise for you. Phil King's misfortune was your fortune because there was no way he was going to be able to stay ahead of you and go along at 1,000% when he's got a nailing car under his helm because he sustained a fair bit of aero and front end damage there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Phil. He was absolutely on fire in that second race, and I was able to pick my way through some carnage early in it on lap 2, I think, which allowed me to kind of get towards the front, and then I just picked a couple off, and then I've gone, oh, right, yeah, Phil's 11 seconds ahead, let's go get him, and Phil stayed 11 seconds ahead, and I've gone, let's just have second then. And then all of a sudden, Phil's 5 seconds ahead, what's going on here? There's some smoke. This doesn't look great. And pass him and half his car's missing. And
that was the early racing.
Yeah.
So,
in saying that as well, mate, to be fair, you got to take your victories when you can get them, and you've got to make the most of those opportunities when they're presented to you. So you certainly did that tonight. And I think you nailed the point as well. You were saying you were trying to consolidate third in the championship. One way to go about that rather is by maintaining consistency, and you certainly can't argue that you've done that tonight.
I was just really pleased with my effort tonight. It's you've got to be in the right spot to take advantage of the misfortune of others. Normally I either spin or I have some help spinning, and I end up having to run from the very through as high as I can type of thing. So it's nice to kind of have somewhere I'm starting towards the front and having a good race, or like in the second race where with the reverse grid I've started at the back and picked my way through and got the good result. So it was it all kind of fell into place for me today, and but I was there to take advantage, so it was pretty good.
Bill,
And of course, next, go for it, Grant.
I was going to say, what can you tell me about the Golden Octopus Foundation? I think someone else was chatting about it the other day, but they're powering your Quantum Motorsports. What can you tell us about
the Golden Octopus Foundation supports childhood cancers.
What a wonderful cause.
Raise money for research and trying to find a cure so no kid has to go through what others have been through previously.
Wouldn't
so
that be a wonderful world?
it would be an awesome, thing.
If someone was feeling particularly generous despite the exaggerated cost of living these days, how would they help out the Golden Octopus Foundation?
I'm thinking that you could Google search them.
Right, yeah, good.
That's how I would do it. I've only been in the team for a little while, and I haven't done a lot of research. That's bad on me.
Not at all. Not at all.
I do know what they're about. I don't know how to do them. I do know Brett has golden octopus that sits over his chair, I think, while he races, and probably gives him some advice.
Okay, yeah. Taps him on the shoulder and plays a little game
Taps
with
him on the shoulder and
wasn't
says,
me.
yeah,
Wasn't me.
Taps him on the shoulder and says, "What did you do there, buddy?"
Yeah, who's that, Brett
yeah,
Campbell, or is that someone
Yeah,
else?
Brett Campbell.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Brett Campbell.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
our other teammate. Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm sure your
yeah,
livery.
I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm sure your livery goes down very, very nicely with Zach Caban. It's right in there. Maybe a touch of red in there for his true primary yellow, but he loves a yellow livery.
Yeah, I'm not running the mip-map, so it's supposed to be gold, like Aiden's. I'm actually using Aiden's. I'm using Aiden's livery without the mip-map on it. So
right, so that's Aiden's livery.
There we go.
Yeah.
I prefer yours.
Well, to be fair, it's somewhat aptly appropriate that Schulte's livery is what it is, considering that he finished in the goal position there in race 3. But continue on, Grant.
No, that's all I wanted to know. Well done to the boys for bringing some awareness to the Golden Octopus Foundation, and we wish them every success in knocking. They can start with the kids' cancers, and then they can get busy with the rest of the bloody horrible things that strike us down in the course of our days. And so often, the nicest people get the worst diseases. So well done to them.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'd like to thank Lobezy Racing for sponsoring tonight, and our other sponsors for the club. Thank you very much to them.
And just whilst Grant runs through them at the bottom of your screen, and I'll run through them again a little bit later on. Phil, one last one for you before we let you go, mate, and we'll get to Schulte and Tyson in just a moment. Next week, one circuit, 3 different cars, 30-minute heats apiece. How do you prepare for that, and how do you quickly adapt on your toes from one to the other? Because all 3 cars, the 86, the MX-5, and also the Formula 4, they're distinctly different beasts.
Yeah, I'll knock off work and kind of race home and try and do a couple of laps in each, and basically see how I go. It's fortunately I race a lot of everything because that's what I want to do. I'm not like a one car specialist. Otherwise, I might have a higher I rating. I'd have a tendency to go, what can I race? Oh, I'll race this. I'll race NASCAR trucks. I'll race something stupid. I'm not worried about me I rate. That's good because I'm going to die in this. So that's pretty much how I think it's pretty much how you go. Like it's hard to kind of go, rightio, bang. You could concentrate on one, I think, or you could concentrate on trying to do one of everything kind of through the week and see how you pull up. But getting out of one car and then jumping in the next one for the next race is going to be really tough in those first couple of laps.
And we're only assuming it's going to be the same track for each of the 3 races. They might even throw a complete curveball and have a different track for each race. I'm not sure what's happening there.
I'm not too sure which track it is. Did someone say something about Road America?
I don't know.
I'm unaware.
I'll have a look at it.
I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember whether it was Road America, Road Atlanta.
Oh well,
I think it's one of the American. I think it's one of the American tracks.
Okay, all will be revealed in the fullness of time, I'm sure. And Ben Woods,
I'm sure it will be.
being one of the runners of it, that probably just not letting any one guy have a complete boycott on practice time. So leave it to the last moment and say, oh, by the way.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Exactly.
We used to do that with...
Pull the blindfold off. Here you are.
Yeah, production cars, we used to do that. We'd find out Thursday night what was going on Friday. yeah, it'll be interesting to see because plenty riding on it. Coming into this evening, we'll have a look at the points because we don't have those updated. But we can see...
We're about to have them updated, actually, Grant.
All right.
Adam Lavis is hard at work in the background.
indeed.
Have a look at it.
Oh,
Have a look at it. Yeah, it was a jumbled scramble there for a few moments.
Yes, and still is. So I wasn't expecting them to do that.
No. Benny Woods is joining us as well. And am I to assume that you've got some sort of race control duties in your grasp tonight, or were you in GT1 getting ready to fire, my friend? Are you there, Benny?
No, I'm in rural WA at the moment. I was just watching the broadcast of the guys tonight.
Hello, mate.
And I heard Phil talking about the next week's track.
Yes.
So I'm happy to confirm that it will be all 3 cars at Road America.
Yay.
For a super shootout.
Legendary RA. How's rural WA, please?
Boring as.
Oh, well, that's not very nice. Well, that being said, I haven't got to the rural areas of WA yet. I went to Perth a couple of weeks ago. I was in Kalgoorlie for business about 5 years ago. I will get back and explore WA at one point. Lovely part of the world where the time difference, Grant. Here's your bingo card getting ticked in. You can tick another box here. A lovely part of the world where the time difference makes a lot more bloody sense. Fantastic. Woodsy, we appreciate you chiming in, mate, and we hope the rest of your week in rural WA goes well. When are you back in the sim rig, please?
I should be back tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be around for Porsche Cup this Thursday, but if not, back to normal next week.
Excellent, mate. Very nicely done. Hopefully business is treating you well. In the meantime, let's jump from Woodsy and say thanks to Phil Butler, mate. We appreciate that. Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We want to shift the conversation now towards the 2 A's, Adam and Aiden. Adam Tice, Aiden Schultz. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. Ticey, just talk us through that from your angle, please. You finished the night with a second and a third. I don't have the results of race 1 on me, mate, but fill in the gap for me. Do you like the Formula 4? Do you like Imola, or are you happy to see the back of both?
G'day, Zach. G'day, Grant, the dynamic duo back in the broadcast.
Yes.
Booth.
Oh, there it is. Race 1 results. Thank you, Grant. So you've had a fourth, a second, and a third. So the only box you didn't really tick is the W. You can thank Phil and Aiden for dominating that end of proceedings tonight. But for you, not a bad night out at the office. Consistency was key, and you managed to tick that box.
Yeah, it was a good night overall, Zach. I might take a third for the race number 1, seeing as though Matto doesn't normally race with us. Wondering if Adam Lavis can adjust the points accordingly. No, it was good. I actually I only got Imola this week and absolutely fell in love with the place. So the F4 and Imola combo I really loved. Practice was woeful tonight, but I managed to put it together for the racing, so that was good.
I'm not sure we've had too many requests on air before, Grant Gill, for can we just give me third because Matto doesn't normally run with it.
No, but it's worth a shot.
I like it.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. Absolutely it is. 100%.
There's a chance.
Minimalistic chance, but hey, there's a chance. No, Ticey, well done. So how much time, once you bought him, how much time did you spend getting to grips with it, learning the circuit, learning the car on the circuit?
Probably about 45 minutes or so. It was, I had going around, I had vague memories of it in, I think it was Forza Motorsport or Gran Turismo or something. But so once it kind of did a couple of laps, it was just a matter of dialing in pace and braking and that sort of thing. And I've really been trying to concentrate this season on that saying that's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And so that seems to have helped. But congrats to Phil Butler and Aiden tonight. They were just awesome. Particularly Phil, he was just in a class of his own tonight. And but yeah, it was great racing, and just really loved being a part of it.
I was going to say 45 minutes. That's just slightly longer than Trent Lavis's 5 or 6 laps that he normally does before he goes to task. That's very nicely done. T. Lavis has actually sent himself out, so we thank him for stopping on by and having a chat to us as well. Ticey, in the early stages there, field was pretty well bunched up. A couple of moments that were hairy to say the least. How difficult was it to try and keep your nose clean in amongst all of that garbage?
Yeah, very, very difficult, Zach, because it is an open wheel car, and so you got bits flying left, right, and centre if there is contact made. And I think it was race 1. I think it was where I did manage to catch Philip Howe come down the inside in the first chicane, and somehow I missed him. Although I did clip him on the front wing, but I managed to get through okay. So I either have races where if there's an accident, I will be collected in it, but most of the time I tend to be able to steer clear of it. So that's a blessing.
It is indeed. What have you been up to apart from up and comers, Adam? You're pretty busy these days. We don't see you in a lot of classes, or certainly not the ones I'm running.
No. Yeah, bit of personal stuff, like with my church and hanging out with mentoring with some blokes and that sort of thing. So I do some bit of personal stuff on the side, and so Tuesday night's the night that I kind of get to have a race. I do have a Wednesdays spare occasionally, but then I'm normally a taxi for the kids. So yeah. But I did manage to have a bit of a spin on Friday night in the wings and slicks, because you're not allowed to call them that other word yet.
No. Well, I would have also accepted the use of the term American open wheeler. But that's okay. We'll go with wings and slicks for the moment. And obviously that's the beauty of it, isn't it, Ticey? I mean, you were just highlighting that everyone's getting busier, but we're still finding time somewhere in what's left of our week to go sim racing from time to time. So with that in mind, let me ask you about next week. Let me ask you about the grand finale for the up and comers. And let me ask you about, as I asked Phil Butler there a few moments ago, the importance of going hop, skipping and jumping from car to car and doing it with, relative ease and precision for the sake of consistency, for the sake of netting results, for the sake of championships that are on the line next week. How do you handle jumping from one to the other in close proximity?
Yeah, look, I'm going to echo Phil's thoughts and say it's pretty difficult. I think I'm not a fan of the Mazda at all. I think it's straight from the pit of hell, but nevertheless, it's part of the deal. And my preference is probably the F4. I've kind of fallen in love with that. And I seem to go okay in the Toyota. It's probably the Mazda where I'll certainly need to look at probably throwing a bit of practice in for sure. But now that we know that it's Road America, I might see about chucking a couple of laps in on the weekend or something.
Straight from the pit of hell. I don't think I've ever heard anyone show that sort of disdain towards Road America previously.
No, the Mazda. The Mazda.
The Mazda.
And that's only because...
Not the circuit, the car.
Not
right.
the circuit, the car.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's because I always manage to find a way to ruin my racing. So, but that's just a personal thing. I'm sure it has plenty of fans.
I'm sure it does, just not you. But in saying that as well, the other thing, and we've got a couple of minutes here before I get to a break so that we can reset and regroup for GT1. With regards to the Mazda MX-5, it's eerily similar to the comments Chris Whitaker made about the Renault Clio. So I do like it. I'm all for it. We love that difference of opinion, but again, it comes back to the fact that not everyone's meant to like every car. Not everyone's meant to like every circuit. That's what variety is. That's why variety is the spice of life, ladies and gentlemen. If we all liked everything and got along the same way, the world wouldn't be fun. Ticey, I'm going to leave it there, mate. Good on you tonight. Well done. Good to catch up and go well next week.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for broadcasting tonight, putting it all together, Grant, and shout out to Trent for sponsoring the series and all our sponsors as well. It's been a real honour to jump in up and comers and race with the guys, and look forward to next week.
Any airtime is good airtime, Grant. There's a comment that I'm enjoying. Good on you, Ticey. Thank you, Schultzy. So, just walk me through this, please. Race 2 obviously left a little bit to be desired, but race 1, you had the lead, you had it comfortably, you peeled to one side and let Phil Butler through. There were team orders there at stake, were there?
No team orders. I just said to him, I've missed the last 3 rounds, so I said, you know, you're fighting for third in the championship. If I'm in front of you, I'll let you go, and that's exactly what I did. So, yeah, that was all it was.
Okay, but it was a limited time only offer, obviously, because you weren't so generous with your time in race 3. You decided to waltz on through and take a 3.44 second victory, mate. Well done.
No, I gave him the option to. I said to him in Discord, I said, do you want me to just back off for you and get it? And he said, no, you just go. So, no, it should have been 3 wins from 3 tonight. Unfortunately, we were definitely the fastest car on track majority of the night, but I haven't been there the last 3 weeks, so I didn't want to play up on the boys' championship. So just trying to navigate around quietly and do my thing, and we come away with what would have been 2 wins. But yeah, it was a good night. Good night. Definitely had a quick car.
A little bit of garbage at the opening chicane there in the second race, Schultzy. I don't know what the invoice was for the tow that you were able to receive along the way there, but it didn't last very long, and it actually took a little bit of time to separate the 2 cars that you could actually resume racing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, actually. I was like inverted on top, not inverted upside down, but like I was pivoting on top of his roll cage. And then when I did get back going, I kept making mistakes. It was like there was some type of something going on with the car. I just couldn't get it going, but I got back to 8th and kept circulating. But yeah, that was interesting. I've never pivoted across the top of a car before in iRacing, so that was interesting.
We thought we were going to have to get a bucket of water to separate you guys.
Well, mate, you might have need to, but I got off there and we kept going. But yeah, it was unfortunate. And the worst thing is Brett, my teammate, is the one that caused it all. So that was even worse. But no, it was a good night.
Excellent.
All right. And obviously, as you say, when you miss the last 3 weeks, rather, it makes it hard to have a crack at the championship, mate. But a chance to finish strong and potentially help a teammate sew up a strong result. The next 2 weeks are key. You guys tick the boxes pretty well tonight. What about next week, right, America?
Yeah, mate, I'll be there for Filber, trying to get him up there. I was in a prime position to probably win this championship early on, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I decided to step away from it driving wise, letting the other guys sort of have a go, and you know, with my personal life and stuff going on, so probably could have won it, but you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But good to see the other guys going well. I'll be there supporting Phil and Brett, and we'll be there. Good to see Ticey. I want to see Ticey get this one. He deserves it, because he's a great guy and he deserves to get the championship. I won't be doing up-and-comers next year. I think I've gone past that. So, and that's no disrespect to everyone else, but you know, we've all been there and done stuff. I don't think I'll be running that next year, but what a great championship for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club to allow people to get up there and do stuff. And to be honest with you, mate, you saw me last night in GT3s, and then you've seen GT4s and supercars. You know, you are up and comers and you struggle to win, and then you go to GT4s and you're in the top 5, top 8, whatever. Like, the level of this club is next level, man. So it does not matter where you're at.
No, not at all. In saying that as well, I mean, maybe the other guys not necessarily as experienced as you. So from your standpoint, you're used to driving different cars and a different number of them each and every week. How are you feeling about next Tuesday night and going from the Mazda to the Toyota into the Formula 4 in pretty quick succession there? 3 races, same circuit, 30 minutes, same race length, but it's a quick changeover.
Yeah, very comfortable, mate. Very comfortable. It's a track I know very well, and 3 cars I know very well. So, yeah, very comfortable. Like I said, I'm not going to be there to try and ruin the championship for anyone else. If I'm quick enough and happen to lead or second or third, I'll do that. But if someone wants to have a go and have a run that's in the title hunt, I will not be there, and I'll just open the door and they can go have it, mate. That's
And if,
I don't want to be a part of that.
if you're out in the lead, you're not really affecting championship points too much because everyone has a similar relative. But if you're tucked in behind, say, Tyson and King or Butler and King, then that's when it can have an effect. But credit to you for.
We've seen that, mate, in the way that this series is. We're always there or thereabouts, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think there's any question whether we're going to be around each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to just be in navigating those 3 races nicely and let the boys finish off their championship.
Absolutely.
Which one's the invert grid, please? Does anyone know which one the invert grid is next week? Because that will throw the cat amongst the pigeons if there's a reverse grid race in there.
It's not saying any of it. 30-minute practice or 30-minute quali and 30-minute race for each individual. So I think you race
grid.
what you brung and you start as you go. No, it'll be a separate quali for each class of car. So
so it'll be a very long night at the office for everybody. Yeah, gotcha.
Hence why no GT1. And probably whilst he's talking about championship points, it looks like I can do this now.
There we go. Actually, not quite that one, Grant.
No,
there's the schedule for this week. Let's do that. 7:18 for Adam Tice, 6:89 for Phil King, and 6:45 for Philip Butler. Have a look at that. Aiden Schultz now under 5:96. So he's got himself up into 4th place, ahead of Tristan Koch and Adam Johnson, who didn't have a night to remember tonight, it's fair to say. And then
he'll remember it. He just
Jason
remember
Tynan wasn't on the grid. Yeah, exactly. Justin Cotter, 491. Aiden Schweiker wasn't on the grid tonight either. Luke Keamy makes up the top 10 on 406 points. So it'll be all to play for next week. It'll come down to the battle between those 2 men, Adam Tyson, Philip King. 3 races in the Mazda MX-5, the Toyota 86, and the Formula 4 to finish it off around the Road America circuit in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We look forward to that. And before we take a break, Shorty, we also look forward to tomorrow night as well, mate. You take over from me. I'm on triple duty this week. 2 nights on, 1 night off, 1 night on. Thankfully, you're steering the ship tomorrow night. Radicals, that'll be good fun. Downforce Legends first up, and then, of course, into the GT4, which has been, from all reports, a cracking championship thus far.
100%, mate. Downforce Legends to start with, as you just mentioned, that's been some great racing. Looking forward to that tomorrow night. Lime Rock Park will be the location. So 7:45 p.m. we'll kick off for 2x sprints, and then we'll have the GT4 Challenge into Lagos, which great track again. And 9 p.m. we'll start for that race. Race number 1 is 10 laps, and then a 16-lap feature. So looking forward to that one, Zachy, and. Myself and Daniel Criasar will be in for that one. Cannot wait.
And let's hope that when we see you on Thursday night, you're able to be on the grid for both parts of the agenda, the main course and the dessert, because last week, if memory serves, you got brought undone by not just the time difference, but also congestion and imbecilic amount of traffic on the run home down towards Yatla and the like. So let's hope that the time lapse doesn't cost you this week.
We'll see how we go, mate. If we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. But we'll definitely try be there. But yeah, we got the win tonight. Happy with that. But we'll try be there on Thursday and see how we go. But I'll be in the GT1s very shortly, albeit at the back. But I'll be in there. I haven't yet to connect. But it was good to have a good night tonight, mate. And look forward to bringing all the action here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams tomorrow night. On a Wednesday night for the Downforce Legends and the GT4s with Daniel.
All right, well, we might have a chat to you after GT1 if that's okay. In the meantime, there's an upcoming event
this
for you on the
Sunday.
platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. That is this weekend. It's Sunday afternoon, 11:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when we get underway. The broadcast, that is, the race itself from midday Eastern Daylight Time, 26th of the 11th, 2023. Nürburgring 4-hour, penultimate stop of the GSRC Login Systems Endurance Championship.
Not too late to sign up.
Not at all, in both the Le Mans hypercars and also the GT3. So looking forward to that. Join Sam Chapman and Liam Banks for that one. Right, quick break.
Yes.
On the platforms of the GSRC, we do it with thanks to Waste Options, Sprayton Ciders, Orbic Australia, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Lobezy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flush Graphics. This is Tuesday Night Motorsport. We thank Aidan Schultz for stopping on by. I love how glass half full he was with that. Oh, if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. No. Play it down the line, Schultzy, and tell it how it is. If it weren't for the time difference, you would have had an extra hour to get home, and you wouldn't have missed out.
I've already got that
okay.
One. Yep.
Again, I come back to the daylight saving debacle, making absolute mockery of Queensland in every sense of the word. And it's cost how many of our members on how many occasions because they're committed to work and they miss out on leisurely fun because the time difference and then just one delay, one crash, one moment on the way home and they're stuffed. Anyway, we're going to a break. Back with the GSRC GT1 Civil War on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Right after this, it's a special edition of Tuesday Night Motorsport. It's night 2 of week 9 of term 4 for 2023. Grant and I are back with you very shortly. Switch over. New broadcast launching soon in the hope that we can get the YouTube feed up and running as well. We're done with the open wheelers, the GT1s around the streets of Detroit, Michigan, the circuit of Belle Isle, the Grand Prix circuit, that is, in just a moment.